Hi folks, how you doing? It's James, JT at the movies. We're back here today for the 007th episode of my Debriefing 007 series, where we're going to talk about Sean Connery's final official appearance as James Bond in the 1971 film Diamonds Are Forever. So, Diamonds Are Forever. Sean Connery comes back after famously saying that he'd never play the role again. But after a record-breaking salary of $1.2 million, they managed to convince him to come back and do one more film only. Sean Connery's really phoning this one in. He's not in the best shape that he's ever been in this one. The hairpiece is slightly off, and he's really just going through the motions with this. And it's what makes it one of his weaker performances. It's a bit of a shame, really, that he had to go out on this one. They did actually want to cast an American and try and broaden their horizons to play James Bond. And had even got as far as casting a chap called John Gavin. They'd done screen tests with him and started all the preliminary work to get the ball rolling. But United Artists pushed to have Connery back after the failure of having a different Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which at the time was a relative flop. I think it's only in recent years that it's grown a bit of a cult status and a bit of a following, that film. So anyway, they pushed for Connery to come back. They gave him this record-breaking deal, which he accepted, and he came back and sort of phoned in the performance, really. The film starts with a pre-title sequence where, much like in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, they're working up to a reveal of Bond, because obviously it's Connery coming back and they want to do the whole big, yay, he's back. And Bond's scouring the globe looking for Blofeld. We don't see him at first, but we see him, fighting with people and asking questions, and he's punching a guy, and he's, where's Blofeld? And he's in Cairo, he's here, no, he's there, and goes round people. He eventually gets to a young lady and asks her where she believes Blofeld to be. She gives him the location, and then we catch up to Bond at Blofeld's lair. Blofeld's actually trying to get himself cloned, and the purposes for this are never really fully explored in the film. It's just something that he's doing. Blofeld this time's played by Charles Gray, and the less said about this performance, the better, because it's dire. It really is dire. I mean, Telly Savalas must have looked at the script and thought, I'm not doing that. I really don't know why. I suppose it's in keeping with the novels, because in the novels Fleming changed Blofeld's description drastically every time, and that was part of Blofeld's master plan of sort of being able to slip in and sort of disappear, if you like, and sort of be unrecognisable. So perhaps the producers were wanting to do that, but I imagine that wasn't the case and there wasn't that much thought put into it. Bond and Blofeld battle, and Bond believes that he's killed the original Blofeld. He hits him round the face with a piece of equipment in the lab that they're fighting in, and then pushes him into some molten mud. Welcome to hell, Blofeld. And then the titles roll. We get the fantastic Diamonds Are Forever by Shirley Bassey, a great Bond song, one of the classics there. We then jump into the main plot of the film. Now, the main plot of this film is that large quantities of diamonds are being bought in bulk and hoarded on the black market, and basically the authorities want to know why. They want to know what's going on. They want to track where these diamonds are going, so they bring in MI6 and they bring in James Bond to find out what's going on. Posing as a diamond smuggler, Peter Franks, James Bond goes out to Holland to meet somebody who's involved in the smuggling of the diamonds, and that is this film's leading lady, Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John. And I must say that she's actually a quite refreshing change of a leading lady, because she can handle herself, she's very outgoing, and it really sort of adds to the plot and isn't just there to be sort of Bond's eye candy sort of thing, which has happened in some of the other films, if we're being totally honest. So posing as Franks, Bond makes contact with Tiffany Case and starts to sort of understand that there's a whole sort of line of people that these diamonds are smuggled through to get them from where they need to be. The real Peter Franks turns up, but Bond battles him and manages to kill him, and manages to convince Tiffany Case that actually the now dead Peter Franks was actually James Bond, so that they believe that Bond's off their tail, if you like, and hopefully the bad guys will relax. The trail leads them to Las Vegas, where we fly in the dead Mr. Franks' body and sort of use him to smuggle the diamonds. And we there sort of learn that actually the person who's behind all of the diamond smuggling and the whole sort of film scheme is none other than Blofeld, who's kidnapped the reclusive billionaire Willard White and taken over his empire, and is basically living as Willard White out of the penthouse suite of his Las Vegas hotel. And with Willard White being a reclusive character, nobody's seen him for years. Nobody's any the wiser that actually it's not White calling the shots. White's been held hostage at one of his other properties out in the Nevada desert, being guarded by Bambi and Thumper, who are two Spectre employees. Bond learns that the purpose for stockpiling and hoarding all the diamonds, and also for killing every link in the chain, is that Blofeld is making a satellite laser, which obviously will be sent into outer space, and then will have the ability to fire a beam down to Earth so powerful that it can destroy major cities. And as always, Spectre and Blofeld intend to hold the United Nations to ransom, to basically have their demands met. Bond manages to kill one of the Blofeld clones, and then realises where the real Willard White is. So Bond, Felix, and the CIA and everybody, and now Tiffany Case, who's realised that Peter Franks is actually James Bond, and decides to switch for the side of good once she realises what the wider plot is, manage to go and rescue Willard White. It's with Willard White's knowledge of his own empire that they realise that Blofeld has taken over an oil rig in Baja California and is using that as his base of operations to control the satellite, and that he's actually now holding Washington DC to ransom. Blofeld shows that he means business by testing the laser out across the globe, and we get a montage scene of the laser being used. The United Nations agree to send James Bond in as the representative, if you like, to try and sort things out. A massive battle ensues, and the station is destroyed. Blofeld is believed killed in all the madness. But now that the station's been destroyed, the satellite up in space is rendered completely useless. So, back to the traditional Connery ending of Connery and his leading lady on a boat. Connery sailing back to Europe with Tiffany Case on a cruise liner, and it's there that the film's secondary villains, the henchmen, if you like, Mr. Widd and Mr. Kint, who've been the people in the film that have been killing off anybody who's come into contact with the diamonds for Blofeld, are there, and they try to kill off James Bond and Tiffany Case. Of course, Bond gets the better of them in a very comedic scene, and then the film ends with Tiffany Case wondering how the diamonds will be brought down from space. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill James Bond adventure, is this one. There's nothing too much to think about in it. Like I say, Sean Connery really does phone it in with this one. I think Jill St. John playing Tiffany Case is one of the film's strongest aspects. She's a great leading lady. And the secondary lady of this film, Lana Woods Plenty O'Toole, is really just there to, sort of advance the plot further forward, and be a pretty fling for Bond, although he doesn't actually get to spend the night with her because she's thrown out of a window into a swimming pool by some of Blofeld's goons before they have the opportunity. Charles Gray as Blofeld, it's dire. It's absolutely dire. Now, he was fantastic as Dicko Henderson in You Only Live Twice, and that should have been his one and only appearance in James Bond. Like I said at the start, I really don't know what they were thinking in casting Charles Gray as Blofeld. He's nothing like the previous two iterations, and again, I know that could be them trying to evoke what Fleming used to do, but I really doubt that's what they were going for. And in particular, the fact that he plays the character for laughs is appalling, and the relationship and the dynamic that he has with Bond really annoys me as well. Because let's not forget that in the last film, the parting scenes are Blofeld and co killing Bond's wife, and then there's the scene where they're talking in Willard White's apartment, and they could be chatting like they're old friends. And I just think it's a real missed opportunity. Is this film? It could have been a brilliant revenge thriller. It could have been that Bond's on this mission to find out the diamond smugglers. It turns out that Blofeld is actually the one behind it, and we could have had a really poignant bit of revenge there, you know, for what's happened to Tracy. But instead, the producers chose to carry on almost as if Honor Majesties hadn't existed, and that they were just picking up again after You Only Live Twice. And I really do think that is a mistake. I almost wish that Lazenby could have done a Tim Dalton and done a quick 1-2 punch and seen this story out to its closure. But there we go. This, again, much like on Her Majesty's Secret Service, isn't a Bond film that I regularly tend to pop in on its own and watch if I'm not doing a run-through of the series. But I do enjoy it when I put it on. Is it my favourite film? Nowhere close. But I do enjoy it. It's got some good laughs, some good locales in it. And I don't really know what more I can say about it. I think I'd rate this film a 5.5, a 5.5 out of 10. So there you have it, folks. That's my brief thoughts and, again, ramblings on Diamonds Are Forever, Sean Connery's final official appearance. Now, when I've gone through all the Eon production films, I am going to do a review on the unofficial films as part of the video. So I will talk about Never Say Never Again in due course. So don't worry if you're hoping that I'll talk about that. If you've liked this video and you like videos talking about the James Bond movies, if you like videos talking about collecting physical media, reviewing films and just enjoying movies as an art form, then please think about subscribing to this channel, because that's what I'm all about. And if you do subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and that way you're the first person to know whenever I do post a video. Above all else, folks, take care of yourselves, and please continue to stay safe in these really troubling times that we find ourselves in at the moment. And I will see you next time in this series for my review of Live and Let Die. Cheers!